So,
I feel like this is almost even a topic of not just canceling last minute, but you know, like when you're constantly talking to someone, you're like, we need to hang out.
and then the time comes.
And then like, you're like, oh yeah, we should look at our calendar for January, or we should do this. And then it's like halfway through the month.
This was us before we started this.
Yes. And then you're like, I need to make plans with that person, but like, I just don't have the energy.
Taking a name, if you code at the door, welcome to the game.
Welcome back to another episode of Dear Dilemma. On this episode, we're going to be talking about just kind of an epic topic, really.
I think a lot of people can relate to this.
So, have you ever like made plans with somebody and then at the last second you're like, nope, not today.
I'm not going. I would like to apologize to everyone in my life who I do this to currently. I'm so sorry.
It happens. I feel like we're all kind of
so
guilty
sorry.
of it at some point in time. So, canceling plans at the last minute.
Pros and cons. Pros and cons. I think for me, it's harder for me to want to go out or whatever the plan may be. And I say this in every episode, I feel like I do, but it's just me. In wintertime, it's dark. Once it's like 7 o'clock, 6 o'clock, and it's dark, that time where it's like that week or two where it just is awful. It's like dark by 4 p.m. I don't want to go anywhere. And honestly, Hannah's lucky I show up for this every time.
You're lucky I show up to my own house.
Because if I could figure out how to record from my house, duo, and she could be here, I probably wouldn't show up. I would in the summer. Love you to death. Maybe in the spring.
I get it.
But it has honestly helped me get out of the house, I will say.
Well, and honestly, this has been really nice
Yeah,
because like we get to hang out too, which
I won't
is really
cancel
fun
her for this. But if she were to hit me up on a Saturday and she's like, hey, let's go to the farmer's market, I'd be like, yeah. And then 9:30 rolls around, I'm like, you know, I just got up.
This actually used to happen all the time. You already know what I'm going to say. Brooke would be like, hey, do you want to go to church tomorrow? And I'm like, yeah, totally. Yeah. And I was pregnant at the time. So it's been a couple years ago. And I was like, Brooke, it's like 9:30 and I just woke up. Nope, not today.
She was doing well. And
was.
then she had the baby and then she did okay, and then she dwindled, and we haven't seen her since.
Yeah, I'm just really bad.
There's like a poster up at the church that says, have you seen me?
Wanted.
I'm just, okay, so there's some pros and cons, I guess, to this. I know, it's so bad.
I need to go back to church. Okay, sorry.
And if I miss a day, it's like the whole team's hunting me down. They're like, where are you at? But anyways, which is also hard, because sometimes I'm like, I want to watch from home. You know? Mm-hmm. But, okay, so let's talk about pros and cons of canceling on plans. How do we want to do this? Let's start of being the canceller, not the cancelee. So if I'm canceling, pros and cons. Pros, I get to cancel, I get to stay home, I get to do what I want.
You get to be in comfy pants.
I'm not putting on makeup.
True. You get to shower and not do your hair.
Or
makeup again.
Binge watching Netflix or reading or whatever I'm doing. I don't have to talk to no one. I don't have to see no one. My con to this...
I don't see any cons here. I don't know what's wrong with it.
Wait, my con, if I'm the one being canceled on, is that if I got ready for you, and I did my hair and makeup, which is mascara, enough for that, I'm not happy. I still love you, but now I'm like...
annoyed.
Now what am I going to do? Okay?
You got to find like... You
I look
put
like
yourself
person.
together, so you need to make other plans with somebody. So if that person cancels, you're like, I got to make plans with somebody else immediately now.
Or like,
I look good. Or take selfies at least.
Yeah, because it's a very rare occasion that I have on any makeup at all, especially just mascara itself. So that's a con, I would say. I would say it's annoying, but it's so much fun to be the one that cancels.
That's awful. It's actually kind of rude. I mean, it is rude, like, to cancel last minute, obviously. Like, it depends on how close you are with your friend and how well they know you. Like, if you canceled me last minute, I would be like, it's okay.
So, recently we had... I'm so sorry to this person. Recently we had an event, like an alumni event for cheerleading and whatnot.
Yeah.
And afterwards, we were all, like, they had one of our local bars in town open to host us after the game, and, like, all the classes come and hang out and reminisce and all this stuff. And I told my girls, I said, listen, Mama doesn't go out. I'm a dog mom, by the way. Mama doesn't go out after a certain time. So if I am in my house and you text me, because they couldn't decide if they were going to go, and they say, oh, we're going, and I'm in my house, no, I ain't showing up. And they were lucky that I happened to not just get home just yet. And they were like, hey, we're on our way. And I was like...
That is true. I mean, it really depends on where you're at, too.
But there was a person in the group that had invited me a couple of times to go listen to music. And I was like, yeah, I'll go with you. I'll support you. I got you. And then the time came and I was like, I think I'm going to stay home. Well, but I'm not going to do that to you anymore, so...
I feel like this is almost even a topic of not just canceling last minute, but like when you're constantly talking to someone, you're like, we need to hang out.
And then the time comes.
And then like, you're like, oh yeah, we should look at our calendar for January, or we should do this. And then it's like halfway through the month.
This was us before we started this.
Yes. And then you're like, I need to make plans with that person, but like, I just don't have the energy. Like right now, actually, I'm really sorry if you watch this, but like... So my son needs to have a play date with this other really cute kid, and I love his mom, and like we've been trying to like figure out what works for us and all that, and we were like, we need to do a play date in January. I'm like, yes, absolutely, and I have every intention of wanting to do that, but when the time comes on the weekend, I'm like, the weekend's probably the only time that we can do that. And like I kind of just want to chill at home. Yeah. Off. So I feel awful because I'm like, I really genuinely want to do this and like want to hang out with them. But then when it comes down to actually pinpointing a date and a time, it just I can't do it.
Canceling. If you're a mom,
your kid's sick at the last second.
Is always a great excuse. Your kid's always a great excuse.
It is. It's actually, that's like the biggest perk of being a mom.
My sister-in-law always tells me, I'm like, hey girl, you want to go to Target this weekend, do a little sister bonding? And she's like, you really want me to take my 3 kids? I'm like, I'll see you next time.
Just kidding.
I love you so much, but no, I'm good. I love my nieces, but no thank you.
But on the flip side, like the horrible thing about sometimes your kid is actually really sick, and it's something that you want to go to, and then you actually have to cancel last minute because they're like puking all over themselves, and you're like, well, now I can't go, but I really wanted to go.
Yeah.
And so that actually kind of that sometimes
or
sucks.
If you're on the other end and you really wanted to go do something and the person cancels on you. Now, I don't care if you cancel on me and you're giving me 24 hours notice. That's great. But if I'm literally like getting ready to walk out the door and then you're like, oh, hey, which again, I'll still love you because I do the same thing. Yeah. But,
or like if you just get the shits. I'm sorry, I said it, but sometimes it happens. I should have said poops, but you know what? We're just going to keep it real.
Medication is helping on that one. Because that was a great excuse I
Can
had
I
all
tell
the time.
Story?
No!
Okay, you guys, I have to tell this story.
Embarrass me.
I have to embarrass Brooke. Oh my god, it was so funny.
All the IBS girlies out there in the world.
Yeah, Brooke lives with IBS, and she really struggles, and we're just going to say that. But one of the first times that we hung out when I moved back, we went to this bookstore. We drove, like, I don't even know, maybe 30 minutes to this bookstore.
You never know when you're going to have an attack.
And I can't even get it out. It's so funny.
Had an attack.
She had an IBS
At a warehouse?
attack. It was like the sketchiest, like, warehouse book place.
I may have been kidnapped in the bathroom. I don't know.
I will give her the fact that it was, like, August. It was super hot.
So,
there was no air conditioning.
All my IBS girlies out there, you know that when you're having an episode or an attack, and then you add heat to it, and then your anxiety gets going, it's
and
just 10 times worse.
And you're in a public place, so you're like,
I don't care
not
anymore.
to just blow out.
I do, because guess what? This topic has really changed.
Sorry, not sorry.
Back on track, I would have ghosted her. And
you wouldn't have shown up.
I would have not shown up had I known that my body was going to counteract on me that day. And anyone who has IBS or Crohn's disease or any of that, they
celiac. Yeah.
Oh, it's awful.
Mm-hmm.
But that's also a great excuse to cancel too.
It
is.
is.
You're not having it.
You eat something with, like, you're celiacs and you eat something with gluten, you're up.
Or people that don't have gallbladders, I think that's another thing, too.
Yeah.
So those are some pros that you can use to cancel.
Pretend like you have IBS. Nobody has to know.
And it's awful if you do. I'm sure I'm surprised you haven't been diagnosed yet.
I don't.
There's a counteractive of IBS.
I poop regularly.
There's another one.
If we're talking about poop schedules,
there's another one that if you're constipated, there's another form of IBS.
But I'm not constipated.
Well, not yet, but it'll happen to you. Because it happens to the best of us.
I will just share with everybody. My poop schedule was like very regular before I had a child, and I pooped 3 times a day. And then I had my kid, and now I just poop like 1 time a day. It's real weird. The more you know.
Can't even bring that into a pro or a con to cancel plans. Like, sorry, I'm really regular today. I can't meet with you. I just can't with this girl.
I don't even know where this conversation is going.
Anyways,
so sorry.
If you
everybody.
need to cancel plans out of the blue 20 minutes before you meet somebody, it's okay. But if you're being canceled on, you can be upset for 5 minutes, but it's also okay.
Yeah.
2025 is the year that we are going to continue canceling.
And reschedule. And then reschedule again. And then maybe reschedule one more time.
Yeah. So.
But you know what? If you're true friends with that person,
you
don't care. They're going to be your girl at the end of the day or your guy, and you're going to understand and it'll be fine.
My friends know. I don't go anywhere last minute or wherever until it is at least a hot 70 degrees outside. Then I'll be like, yeah, I'll show up right now. But after that, see you later. It ain't happening. Love ya. But I love you from a couch. Anyways.
We hope you enjoyed this week's
episode. What an episode this was.
Took a wild turn there. You never know what you're going to get with Brooke and I.
I mean, dilemmas of IBS and canceling plans.
Who would have ever put those two together?
Well, join us next week for another submission, another episode of who knows what we'll get on. I mean, we did just get a place in this town called Uranus.
We did. Where the fudge is always hot. And the holes are always open.
Have a good week. Have a good week. See you next time on Dear Dilemma. Don't follow us.
Follow us on Instagram, YouTube, TikTok. I can't even say it.
We're not saying Spotify because no one listens to us.
Don't forget to follow us on YouTube, subscribe, like us, and also check us out on Instagram and TikTok.
If our TikTok has not been banned.
Yeah. Otherwise, just Instagram and YouTube then.
Yeah.
Makes it real easy. 2 platforms.
There you go. Have a good weekend. We'll see you next week.